Hey guys, I was asked to talk a little bit about extensions, specifically on a Pechauer, what it looks like with the extension on. So this is my main Pechauer. It does have the extension bumper. This is no way anything's going to focus. This is the Pechauer extension that I bought at the same time. It says Pechauer on the back up here. It's got the Pechauer speed joint, which is like 5/16 14, but only half of it, and then the rest of the cylinder. It's a speed joint thing. Um, for this cue, I mean, it just screws on like extensions do. Now this one here, again, I wish my camera would focus, but if I tighten this up, this extension is up against this white part of the cue. It's touching it. I don't like that. And if I were ever to, you know, make this cue like my main shooting cue again, what I've done in the past is I'll glue like a little rubber O-ring down inside this just to keep it off just a little bit. Still tighten it up, but just so when I'm shooting, this part here, which holds metal on this piece, is not banging into the cue and wearing out the finish or whatever. Um, I haven't done it with this cue. This has not been my main cue for several years, but that's what it looks like. Actually, I'm looking at it now. There's a very, very, very small gap, so I may not need to do that O-ring thing I was just talking about. I probably would, because my old eyes can't really tell, but it's pretty close. But that's what it looks like. And the diameter is the same and all that, but you can certainly tell there's an extension, in case that's what you were wondering about, talking to the person that asked me the question. The other thing about extensions for me is, you're all hear that squeak, right? Or did Da Vinci get rid of that noise? Is I don't use the extensions. It's like I have these criteria for a cue. I must have a leather wrap, for example. I must have some street cred, for example. And here over the last few years, I must be able to put an extension on it. Well, I don't use extensions. I mean, I have them. A few years ago, I spent a couple $100 getting an extension fitting put on my Southwest so I can put an extension on that. And I can. And I think I've used it once in like 3 years. I just don't use them. I have too much effort to walk over and get the extension and screw it on. Oh my gosh, it's like too much effort for me to do that. It's much less effort to just go pick up a bridge, and so that's almost always what I do. Here recently, I've gone back to using my Tim Scruggs as my main cue. Does not take an extension. Do I care? In reality, I don't. But there is still a nagging part of me that's like, oh, you've got to have an extension, or it's not as useful as it could be. That's why I had my Southwest modified to take an extension, because it made it more useful potentially. It just, as it happens, I just never use the thing anyway. I just don't. They don't come up. If I played snooker on a 6x12, I would imagine I'd have an extension on 24/7. But I don't play snooker on a 6x12. I've never even seen a 6x12 table in person. A lot of 5x10s, but not a 6x12. That would be walking out onto the deck of an aircraft carrier, is what I've said about walking up to a 5x10 when you haven't done it for a while. A 6x12 was what, walking out onto a soccer field or something? I don't know. Anyway, so that's what it looked like. You take an extension, you screw it on, and that's what it looks like. So, thanks.